Perfect. I should see this as it, and we are recording. Excellent. Layla, this is great. I'm glad you could be the guinea pig to walk through this. This is great. So what I want to do is walk you through the process that I recommend for everybody. And it's not just for you. Anyone who goes to PABGR, generates leads through a free consultation and wants to sell those leads, I'll show you the system. Now, it's not complicated, so it's not going to take very long to get through. I'll take questions at the end, and then you're going to notice that it's the execution of it that makes a difference, not necessarily like this isn't earth-shattering stuff. There's one tool that you need, and that is sort of a bit of a secret tool, and it's not a secret tool, but it's a secret tool. You know what I mean? And once you have that, then you're good. It's just a question of executing and refining and getting better at it. So this is truly the fastest path to cash as it relates to coming to PABGR and getting leads. So if you come to PABGR and there's 100 people in the room, you're probably going to have 40 or so consultations. Out of those 40, 20 are probably going to show up, and you should sell 6 to 10 people. Mm-hmm. If you don't have those kinds of statistics, then something is wrong, and I'm very big on tracking everything. So, for example, if you have 100 attendees and by Friday night you only have 3 people set up for consultations, free consultations, then you're doing something wrong, because typically we're seeing people fill up much faster. So even by Friday night, how many did you get total, Layla?
Total, I got 47, and
perfect.
I sent out a message yesterday, and I've got 10 sign-ups already, and I've got 3 booked for tomorrow.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's great. So now there is going to be a drop-off. It's natural to have some drop-off between the 40 and the 20, right? 40 consultations, 20 show up, but it shouldn't be much more than a 50% drop-off. And the way to do it is you want to send them an email with like a last chance. Now the process between the 40 and the 20, what I recommend is that you not only shoot them, and so there's a couple of key points here that I want to mention, and Keith's taking notes because we're gonna build a guide around this as well. So from 40 to 20, one of the things you want to do is do not use one of those auto scheduling tools. What I mean, but you know what I'm talking about? The tools that automatically plug into your calendar?
Yeah.
Don't use those. Do you use those?
No, I don't. I actually really like the personal kind of touch. So I just send an email with
perfect.
Something from the weekend that we all notice, so that we notice together. Yeah.
Perfect. And what I recommend is that if you can have an assistant or someone else do it for you, that's even more powerful because it makes you more exclusive. So if you can figure that out, partner up with someone, get someone to help you, hire someone, whatever, you will notice your booking rate go up if someone else does it for you.
Oh, okay. I've got an apprentice, a young man that works with me, so I'm going to
absolutely get him to do it. And you want to review the messages he's sending. You want to review the communications he's sending. You want to review the phone calls he's making, because he needs to make you, the expert, very exclusive. So I'll give you a perfect example. When someone, let's just say when Keith is booking an appointment for me, Keith's my executive assistant, when she's booking an appointment for me, now she's trained, she's been with me for years, but whether it's a day off for me and I'm not doing anything and the day's wide open, or whether I am slammed in meetings, she's going to say, ooh, that's going to be tough to get you in that day. Because she wants to make me exclusive. She wants to prop me up. And she's been trained that way. And you got to train your people that way as well, so that it's not just, oh, sure, yeah, you can have any time you want. She's wide open. That's very, very different than saying, ooh, she is slammed that day. She's got consultations coming out the yin yang. But you know what? I'll squeeze you in. I know she really wants to talk to you. I'll squeeze you in. See the different positioning there?
Yeah, love it.
So when we do, and another good example is my wife and I own a spa. And when someone calls in for an appointment and says, I'd like an appointment, if that therapist is whether they're full or empty, we always give them 2 choices. Would you like this time or that time? We don't say you can have any time you want. We make it very exclusive and we build them up. So that's key. The other thing is you could strategically send information between the two. So when you're booking the consultation and before they show up, I'm going to show you how you need to be sending an intake questionnaire. I'll show you that. But then there's also strategic information you could send, like a video, in order to position yourself properly for the show up. And again, you just got to look at, I mean, I can't look at everyone's individual naturally, but what are you sending, Layla, between the consultation and the show up?
Between the consultation and
so you've booked it. They've given you your name. You have their info on a piece of paper, but now you're booking the consultation. So you want to book them for Thursday or Friday or whatever. What do you do between those two?
Okay, so what I did was I sent an email with my calendar schedule, my Calendly schedule for the next 4 weeks. And I've sent that out to them. Those that have responded back and booked a slot, I'm going to send a thank you.
But isn't the Calendly schedule thing the thing I'm talking about that I don't want you to do?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm learning. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
The other thing is I would never give them 4 weeks, ever. Ever. I would give them like if you went to a pad on the weekend, we ask you, and we ask you to not contact anyone until at least Thursday. But from that Thursday to the next Thursday, which is essentially a week and a half after the event, you want to get them all in right then and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, squeeze them in, man, because the energy, keep in mind, from the moment someone says yes to something, it gets harder and harder to sell them. The moment, from that very second, from that moment forward, every second that passes by, they are in a zone called jeopardy. And jeopardy means they get colder and colder and colder and colder. So there's a massive difference between someone who says, listen, I want to book on Thursday versus someone who says, I'll squeeze this in 4 weeks. You're talking to two completely different people, and that's going to impact your show up and your sales rate.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about what you've just said there is the bookings have been until up to next week Thursday. So
because they're excited.
Time frame, yeah, because
they're excited. They want to get in, so that's great. So I would do that. I would cut your don't do Calendly. I would send out I would have someone else do it on your behalf, and them position you properly, and really build you up, make you very exclusive, and then I want you to think about now you don't have, you may not have done enough for now, but you're going to notice in my system, there's an enhance phase. And right now, you got to be thinking about this now, because as you're going through the consultation setup and as you're going through the show up and as you're going through the sales, start thinking about and start jotting down all of the objections people are telling you, the objections to buying, the objections to showing up, the objections to whatever. And then what you're going to do is you're going to strategically build videos, emails, and information, and you're going to drop that to them early on so that you improve your sales rate.
Yeah, I really like that, because the one that comes for me is the objection about money. So I was thinking in some of my kind of marketing materials is to actually do an FAQ on objections around money and not being able to afford it and so on. But I know that's resistance on their part, and there's other things around that. Yeah,
exactly. And I would do a video. Maybe it's some type of video, some type of interview, some type of something where you're telling a story about how you overcame your own money problems to join this program. Yeah. And that's a great story that a lot of people would be blown away by. And if you deliver that to them several days before they show up, that's got several days to percolate in there. That's critical to you making that sale on the day. The other thing is, and I'm going to go to the next thing. Okay, let's move on, and then I'll go through the whole thing. So step one is at the boot camp. Now you're past that point, Layla, but someone watching this may not have been past that point. And at the boot camp, it is very critical that you are not spending too much time with people. And again, you're past this point, Layla, but for next time, I don't want people spending too much time. Don't get into the nitty gritty details of what you're going to do in the consultation. It's like, you know, there's so many people there. You just essentially want to get them down and then position them for the appointment. Don't get into too much details, because then they're just, what's happening is, you got to keep in mind why you're there. Your primary objective is to get the volume of appointments. You're not trying to sell anything on that day. You're going to sell something during the consultation, but that's not for 4 more steps. You have to focus on getting the volume of appointments. So as people line up, you are quickly getting the information down, you're booking their session, or you're setting a time to follow up with them. We've tried it both ways, by the way. We've tried it where you book a specific session that day, which seems to work well. So you would have a piece of paper with a bunch of lines across it, and they essentially would pick a session like Thursday morning next week, or the following Monday afternoon works good. They at least give you an indication of when it works. That's one way to do it. You got to test this stuff. Maybe it works well. Maybe it works better the other way, where you're just getting a bunch of names. You're having your assistant follow up to set up the appointments. You got to measure that. That make sense?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is measure everything. Every element of every, like at Black Card, now we measure every element of every stage of every move. So, you know, from the boot camp to the appointment, from the appointment to the intake, from the intake to the consult, every step is measured. And we test every step of every step, which is, okay, if we do it this way, how does it work? If we do it that way, how does it work? And then we use the best one, and then we keep testing. So, I mean, you guys are just starting out. So, you know, you got to test the big things and then get more granular as you go. Okay. So at the boot camp, that's the boot camp. Focus on the volume. Second thing, the appointment. Now that I talked about this, Layla, which is setting the appointment. Do not send a Calendly or another kind of app, because you're just diminishing your own power. The best approach is to have an assistant follow up for you. That's the best approach, because it makes you very exclusive. You can train the assistant to do it just the way you want. The assistant isn't intimately connected. It gives you power to make the sale later. And always only give them 2 time options. You want this time or this time? You want this time or this time? So that's that. That's setting the appointment. Now the intake questions. After you set the appointment, but before the consultation, you have to send them an intake questionnaire. And this is the most powerful part of the whole thing. And I'll show you after. I will give you my intake questionnaire so that you can deconstruct it and reconstruct it for yourself. But the intake questionnaire is the most important part of the sale, because you are getting very strategic. You're getting the information. First of all, it's going to cut down the consultation from what would take an hour to an hour and a half. It'll cut it down to 20 to 30 minutes. By the way, that's the other thing. If your consults are longer than 30 minutes, you're not doing it right. You're there to sell. You're not there to save the world. You're there to sell. 20 to 30 minutes max. And the intake questionnaire allows you to get all the information ahead of time, so that you can then properly position that information in order to make the sale. I'll give you an example. When you look at my intake questionnaire, you'll see how I ask about client value. I ask about what they sell. I ask about the price of what they sell. I ask about their marketing. I ask about their database. I ask about their lead generation. This is all critical information for me to, 1, help them, but 2, so that I know how to position my offer so that I can sell them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Definitely. It's really, really good. I can already tell how that would just shave so much time off, out of my diary, and also give me the key information beforehand, so I'm already prepared.
Yep. And here's another video. Speaking of the appointment, like between the appointment and the consult, here's a video that I would do myself. Because especially in this environment, you're not there to get, I mean, in your case is different, Layla, you're doing more of the life coaching stuff. It's more soft. But in my world, I'm not interested at all about people's sappy story and the war stories and all that stuff. I mean, I get it. I've had them. I've been through it. I understand it. But I would be doing a video to send before the consult, so that they knew, listen, we move fast in these consults. I don't need your whole backstory. I'm going to cut right to the heart of the issues. I'm going to help you get right to the heart of the problem. I'm going to show you how to get over those problems, which is to buy my stuff. And then you're going to have to make some decisions. So you see, I'm prefacing the problems of the consult. I'm sorting those out ahead of time with valuable videos.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So number 5 is selling. Now, this is the most important thing, is you are closing the sale on that call. There is no middle ground. It's a binary thing. Either you did, you get a point, or you didn't, you get 0. That's it. It's not, oh, I talked to 40 people and I got 38 of them that are really interested. I really don't care about that, and you shouldn't care about that either. You either did it, you sold, or you didn't. Make sense?
Yep.
Love it. Now the 6 is probably where everybody falls short, which is the service. Keep this in mind, especially after you do one PABGR like this. Like, you now have, 47, 57 leads you're dealing with. So you're gonna want to go through this cycle and then go through it again and then go through it again and keep going through it until you've maximized the opportunity of these 57 leads. But focusing on servicing them after you sold them is important, so that you don't just keep selling. You got to focus on service, which is where Black Card does so well. And at first, just, you've been at this for a little bit, so Layla, but there's other people who are just starting. But, the service part, especially when you're first starting and you got to sell and you got to service and you got to do the dishes and you got to do the bottle washing and you're the janitor and, you're the marketer and you're everything. It's very difficult. So but you have to do it all until you get big enough, until you make enough revenue for you to hire someone to do parts of it for you. And you do not want to chintz out on the service. I mean, that's the place where you want to focus. Does that make sense?
Definitely, yeah.
And then the last 2 things is the enhance, which, if you've properly tracked the statistics, and you should set yourself up with a spreadsheet that says, okay, I sent out 6 emails. 3 of them replied to me. I set up 2 consultations. I made 1 sale. Okay, the next week I did this and I got this result. And then I did this. And then you step back in a month from now and you look at that data and you're going to be shocked. It's going to show you, like, oh, every time I call them instead of email them, I get a better response. Or when I do 2 emails before the consult, I get a better result. I mean, the numbers will tell you the story. And too many people just aren't tracking their numbers. So it's very key. And I know it's an extra step that a small business owner, a new hustler like you, easily just say, listen, I'll track this shit later. I just won't do it. We'll do it later. But it's really critical. It's going to help you so much more on the relaunch, because this is one of many. Like, this is a cycle. You know what I mean? Like, right now you're at phase. I should have built this slideshow in a cycle, because there's 8 steps, but after step 8, guess where you're going? You're going back to 1.
Yeah. So
it's a cycle. Just keep cycling. So, and then the last thing is, here's my intake. So take this URL down at tinyurl.com/BCB intake questions.
cool.
tinyurl.com/BCB intake questions. And that will give you right to mine, and don't use mine, but look at the essence of what I'm asking and ask yourself, why is he asking that? Every question on there leads to giving me ammunition so that I can make the sale. That's it. Simple. It's not about life stories. It's not about war stories. It's not about sappy stuff. It's about getting to the meat of their problem so that I can help them best. Because you're only going to do so much help in a 20-minute consultation. In order to get the rest of the help, you got to buy.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, really, really good. Really, really helpful.
Do you have any questions? I got about 4 minutes left, and then I got another call.
So the 2 questions, I suppose I was going to ask about when you're talking about testing and tracking for small business owners, solopreneurs. How do we start that? Because I
spreadsheet, Google Docs.
Okay, so just keep it really simple. I suppose then, what is it that we're tracking as well for other people?
You should just track every step. For example, I would track how many I got at the boot camp, how many emails I sent out, how many actually booked a session, how many actually showed up, what's the drop-off rate, and then how many did I sell? At the minimum, you got to track that stuff.
Yeah. And would it be an idea to put in the objections in there, as in what objections are coming up? And so
sure, absolutely. Track it all in the same spreadsheet. If every time you make a sale, then you should look at, okay, what kind of customer is that? Because you're going to start seeing a trend in your customers. Like, you might relate best to middle-aged women. You may relate best to millennials. You may relate best to 60-year-old moms. I mean, I have no idea. And you think you know right now, but after you sell 10, 20, 30 people, it may change.
Exactly. I think it's changed at the moment. It really has, after 3 or 4 years of doing it now. And then the last question was about the videos. So the videos in between the kind of diarising and showing up. So how often are we sending the videos? And I wasn't clear on the video about the problems. Are we prefacing problems with a video that is personal, or is it just something general?
No, I would do a general video. You may make it as personal as you can, but I would not be doing a video for every individual one. That'll be too much.
Yeah.
But after you talk to a bunch of people, like, the money thing is one you should be doing a video on right now.
Yeah.
Which you should that's going to come up. So you should preface that. You should put that on your website and on your blog, and then send people to that and say, hey, listen, before our consult, there's a couple of resources I want you to recommend. I want you to review. One, I need this questionnaire done. Oh, that's the other thing. No questionnaire, no appointment.
Okay.
If they say, listen, I don't have time to do the questionnaire, no problem. When you have time, then you can book the appointment.
Okay.
So do the questionnaire and then watch this video or that video. And I would, it's like one or two things. You can't ask them to do 17 things.
Yeah.
You can only ask them to do one or two things. One, preferably two at most. So questionnaire, and then watch one video, and keep them short. Like, you're not doing a 20-minute video here. You're doing, somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes at most.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That sounds good. Those were all the questions that I had. It was so helpful.
Yeah, great. Well, let's, you get to work now, and then let's review your stats in a couple weeks.
Yeah, awesome. Let's do it. Thank you.
All right. Cheers, girl. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.